opportunity to be here today, Lord. And we pray for this institution, faculty, staff, and students as we continue to move forward, Lord. Lord, thank you for the day that you've given us the many blessings in our life, Lord. Lord, we also ask you to be with those that are battling health issues at the moment, Lord, that your healing hand may come down and touch them. Lead us, guide us, direct us in all the things that we do, Lord. All these things, Lord, we ask in your precious name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Approval of the agenda and minutes from last board meeting. There a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consideration and approval of minutes in September board meeting.
Make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Consideration of college financial report.
You turn to the financial section of your board books. I think we begins on page 7. So looking at the current fiscal year through August compared to that same time frame the previous fiscal year, you can see that our tuition and fees is actually a little bit ahead for August. Some of that is going to be a tiny difference with drops and adds and so forth. Other than that, you can see other categories pretty comparable to last fiscal year. On the next page, looking at our expenses, similar there as well. Again, some slight timing differences from one year to the next when we're getting school started and so forth. So one thing to note though is in the depreciation and interest category, you can see that is quite a bit ahead of last year. That's a timing difference in our bond payment. Most of the time we pay in the first week of October, and this year we paid it the last week of September. So, or the last week of August rather. So that's what the difference is. So then you can see on page 9, just a little bit behind where we were last year, but I think you'll see that even out when we move into the next month. Following that, then you see just the details behind those graphs. And then turning to page 12, looking at our budget to actual. This is at the end of our first quarter, so these are our preliminary September numbers. You can see that on the top half there, looking at our revenue numbers, we've got better than half of our tuition and fees booked against revenue, so we're right on target there. Remembering that we did budget for a reduction in enrollment, so we did plan for that. So that's indicative of that. Other operating revenue is kind of always tracks ahead because we get our money from the Cape Partnership at the beginning of the fiscal year. That goes into that category, so that always tracks it a little bit ahead of it. But it's not a real big dollar amount category compared to the others. On the lower half then of that page, looking at our expenses, kind of using that 25% as our gauge, you can see that most all our categories are right there on target. Scholarships, again, are always kind of more half and half because they follow the semesters. And we do have the beginnings of the fall term scholarships. This probably is the final fall number, but it's probably a good chunk of them. And then following that, then of course on page 13, you see those are just the details that, again, back up the graph we just looked at. Page 14 is our capital budget. You see work continues. Some in this building, but you can see our focus has moved to the tenant center building with the refurbishment of the theater there. So we're going to see that work. On page 15, do have proposed budget amendments for the end of the quarter, ended September 30th. Not any really major ones. Some personnel changes that are just a function of filling vacant positions and so forth. Nothing that's out of the ordinary there. And then just establishing a budget for the Scale Up grant. That was left out of the original budget that, then we look at our cash position. On page 18 is the pie graph. This is one of our higher months because we have started to process federal financial aid for the fall. So this is one of our higher peaks in our ebb and flow as the year goes through. Following that, then you have our certificates of deposits. We did not have any changes in those this month. And then on page 23 is the bid report. We do have a couple of bids out, working on some enhancement grant purchases there. Any questions?
Any discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Alright, all those in favor? President's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It has been a busy month at Three Rivers College, in addition to dealing with all of the normal things that we do in a very trying semester. We've had quite a few activities, so I'm going to ask Deanne Matthews to come forward and talk about Club Rush.
Good afternoon, everyone. Club Rush was actually a month ago when we had our last board meeting. I think some of you walked past and saw the activity out on the lawn. We had several of our student government, student ambassadors, BSU, the Baptist Student Union, Spanish Club, GoFar, Student Nursing, Phi Theta Kappa, and Rise Campus Ministries, voter registration, National Guard were all part of our activities out there and had booths. We had a couple that wanted a booth set up. They didn't want to man it, but they wanted prospects to fill out the form, and then they would get in touch with them. They were interested in their organization. This year we got to have the National Guard come in and actually cook our food. They haven't been allowed to supply the food, but they said they could come in and cook the hot dogs for us. So we had about 300 people that went through that. We had about 150 to 200 students that came through and filled out information that they were interested in clubs. We also had the voter registration booth out there since the upcoming election is coming up. We had 15 people that actually registered to vote on that day, and then another 15 that wanted to check and make sure that they were actually scheduled to vote. So all in all, it was a great day. We had communications there. They did some interviews and videos of the students that were participating, and communications doing a great job putting them on our Facebook page. So any questions about Club Rush?
All right, thank you. And then following that, on September 17th, we celebrated Constitution Day. So I'm going to ask Dr. Ryan Bixby and Miss Judy Davis to come and speak to that.
Good afternoon. So we celebrated Constitution Day on September 17th. We had a 4-hour program. We had some screening programs. We started with the Bill of Rights Institute with a discussion of the meaning of we the people, and followed that with the National Archives and a lively debate on the Electoral College. We had an interview with first woman on the Supreme Court, Sandra Day O'Connor, and then we had a reading of the Constitution itself. Went through the entire Constitution. It takes about an hour to read the whole Constitution out loud.
So we had about 40 students who came through within that 4-hour span. Some students stayed for a couple hours, some it was jumping in between classes and coming in for a little bit and leaving. We also had voter registration available that day as well, and there was a handful.
Yeah, I think we had about 4.
Yeah, 4 that filled it out, and then we made sure that those got turned in. On top of that, we also had, we talked with the housing department. They were able to get us 2 gift cards that we were able to raffle off then for students who came. They put their name in a box, and we raffled those off at the end to encourage them to participate. And at the end, we also did a 15, I had to think how many questions it was, trivia of constitutional trivia, to have them just what they knew about the Constitution, what they might not know, such as who actually did the final engraving of the Constitution, which was a very unknown person from Pennsylvania, so therefore I was like, oh, we'll put him in. But yeah, it was really good, especially considering all of the things surrounding COVID and everything else, to get 40 students to come filtering throughout the day. We were really encouraged that we were able to get them to still do things while dealing with all the pandemic. So any questions with that?
So who did the final engraving of the Constitution?
Now,
Now you got an answer.
now I can't remember.
See, he's a Pennsylvania guy, so
Yeah,
that's why he chose
Pennsylvania guy,
that,
yeah.
but he can't even remember the
Yeah, I
name.
can't remember the
Oh,
name.
okay.
I'll do my PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah, now you're gonna have.
And Darren would like to do the trivia. He would like to see how you can do a 15-question trivia. My money's on less than 3.
Thank you very much. Then on October 1st, we were fortunate enough to host Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe for a tour of campus. You can see there that he went through, as part of that tour, nursing and allied health. I will tell you that based on the response and discussions with him after the visit, he was very impressed with campus, very impressed with the programs that we had. So that was a very positive visit for us. On that evening, we had Patrons of the Art kickoff event. This is the evening where we honor all of our sponsors and donors from the previous year. As you can see, we stuck with the mask requirement policy. Unfortunately, due to the current circumstances, we are unable to put on a season this year. So we're taking the opportunity to fundraise through the patrons for the theater renovation. So that got kicked off in a very positive way, and we think we should have the majority, if not all of those costs covered by the end of the year. So it's a very positive event and very focused on wanting to make things better in the fine arts from that group. We also hosted the Badge of Honor Run. This is a continuation of a few years that we have done this. We serve as a place for them to begin and end their run. And it's very good to be able to partner with local law enforcement, support them, and help them move forward. And now I'm going to ask that Coach Chad Phipps, our head rodeo coach, come forward. We just finished a very successful Three Rivers College intercollegiate rodeo. So, Coach Phipps.
Good afternoon. Dr. Fager just said it was a successful college rodeo again, third time we've had it. The sponsorship dollars, these are approximate numbers because we don't have the exact numbers or the exact figures all in yet, but the sponsorship dollars that we took in was $29,610. The cost of the rodeo was $29,500, so we were $100 ahead before we ever started. That's the first year we've done that, and that was great. We didn't have to worry about anything else. Ticket sales were $5,500. So the approximate profit range as of now is $6,300. We still, like I said, we still have some coming in, but we still have some that's got to go out too on a couple of invoices. So we're looking at maybe being around that mark. The entries for the rodeo this year were up probably more than they have been in the past 5 years. There was 425 approximate entries in the rodeo, with that being around 300 contestants. I know Dr. Payne, several people made mention of the parking lot there at Sykes, from the road all the way back, even behind the arena, was full of trucks and trailers. There was a lot of kids and a lot of horses. There was more people in the stands this year than we've had. Our numbers don't reflect the people in the stands, but there's a lot of sponsors and family members and stuff that were there. The stands were a lot fuller. So we do have on Friday night we made a deal this year honorary team captain because we have a Hall of Fame here at Three Rivers with the rodeo of his throughout the community and gathered some money to give to the kids so they could help pay their travel expenses, or entry fees or whatever it might be, being as he is an ex-old rodeo cowboy. He knows how it is to get up and down the road and what they have in their horses and feed and everything. And he's been a big supporter of us all along. So we did a honor to him on Friday night, and we give him a nice Yeti cup that had like a buckle engraved on it, kind of like a belt buckle cup that we give to our winners too. That was pretty nice, pretty special to him. Also, Dr. Payne was there all 3 nights, and visited Dr. Payne. All 3 nights supported us, and we got so much talk from the other coaches, or I did, to tell me how lucky that we are, that we have the support of the college and the president of the college at our rodeo. Most of them don't ever have a president attend their rodeo, much less be there all 3 nights or have everybody from the college working outside. So a big thank you from me and the rodeo team to Dr. Payne and everybody at Three Rivers, and especially that lady sitting right there. If it wasn't for her and Michelle Reynolds, there's no way that could take place. They are the greatest assets to the rodeo team and that college rodeo happen. We have a few things that we're working on next year to make it bigger. We've got a couple of things that we think we might can grow it with a little bit, because I would really like to see about 1,000 people in the stands tonight, and I think our production in rodeo is good enough to have that, and it will get there. And I am open to any constructive criticism or questions or anything at this time. Okay.
I believe Trustee Featherston did one of the invitations.
Absolutely.
Our grandkids love it. It's the one event every year we know we're going to every year. The kids absolutely love it. We do too. It's a very high quality.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Fitz.
Thank you.
Moving on to some upcoming event. Oh, I was following my list and not my slide. Slides changed. The list remained the same. I am proud to announce that our coordinator of our testing center, Ms. Diana Patterson, is the recipient of the National College Testing Association's President Award this year. She's with us today. If you'll stand up and be recognized. So I can tell you that in my opinion, Diane truly is deserving of this award. She has done a great deal of work to bring our testing center to a top-notch standard, to be recognized, to be certified. She has done a lot of work with the association and is well deserving. So congratulations, Diane.
Thank you.
And we are also in the presence of another winner of the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations Medallion Awards. And Ms. Carrie Franklin is going to speak a bit.
Hello everyone. Well, Friday we had a big watch party in the communications department, complete with disco balls and pizza. And there we found out we won not one but 2 NCMPR Medallion Awards. And you probably don't know, but NCMPR is the National Council for Marketing and Public Relations. And they work exclusively with marketing and public relations professionals at community colleges and technical colleges. More than 1,700 members across the nation at about 650 colleges in the US and Canada. And they really do a great job of fostering communication and idea sharing between the colleges. There's an email group that, we'll constantly get, an email, but we often get emails like, how are you communicating this to students, or, who do you use for your website redesign, things like that. The Medallion Awards, though, recognizes outstanding achievement in design and communication in each of the organization's 7 districts. Missouri is in District 5, where a silver medallion award in the category of video shorts series for the best Countdown to 1300 teaser video series. And you'll see that on the left there. That's just a little screen capture from each of those 3 videos in that series. They featured Coach Gene Best in action, doing what he does best, and there was some animation to make it exciting and to get people pumped up for, you know, our countdown to his 1300th win. All the videos in the short category are less than 30 seconds. Then we also received a gold medallion for the original unmanipulated photography, and that the picture that won is actually from last year's rodeo on the right there. It shows steer wrestler Colby Daniel dismounting a horse while simultaneously wrestling a steer. I'd like to thank or congratulate Amanda. She's the one who brought the countdown videos to life and took that amazing photo. You know, in our office, we think she does award-winning work every day, but it's really nice to see her, you know, recognized on a nice big platform. We're lucky to have her working with us.
Stand up and be ready.
You know, it's you on the horse,
I just want you to think about where the photographer had to be to capture that. So,
Can I jump in real quick?
please.
I'm around with the basketball stuff. The video short series was awesome. That just had such an element to all that. And, you know, we were kind of in our minds knowing Coach Best was going to come real close, 1300. You know, that season was ending. But the things you guys do on the score clock over there adds to the ball game experience so much. And those are just going a little bit extra like that. But that is just icing on the cake, and it really promotes that department. You guys do a great job. My
Thank
opinion. Thanks.
For the record, it was Jacob Challis who was the final engraver of the costume.
Who was it?
Jacob Challis.
Uncle Jake. That's my guess.
Yes, we would have gotten them too. Absolutely. So, upcoming events, we continue our Explore TRC virtually series with psychology on October 27th and Med Lab Tech on November 9th. Both of these will be 7 p.m. So these are open Zoom meetings where students can participate and explore different cognitive fields that they
I'm sorry, do you have a metric on how many quarter?
not right off the top of my head. So, yep, we'll get that to you though.
I'm not, we're just curious like that. It sounds smarter than
But we are tracking the numbers. I just didn't think to bring them with me. November 3rd and 4th, American Red Cross Blood Drive. They will be here. They have made special note that this year they are in extra need over what they normally would be. So anybody who would like to bleed for the cause, come out November 3rd and 4th, 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. respectively. Sing On, Play On, Music Returns. So this is a performance by our music department. They have worked really, really hard to keep their program going. They have done some spectacular things to stay safe while moving forward. If you can imagine trying to control particulates while working wind instruments in a band, it's somewhat of a challenge. So they have decided to go online. They're going to be streaming on Facebook, 7 p.m. November 10th. So if you get a moment, log in, join them, show your support for the great work that they're doing. 4th annual Kennett Trivia Night will be held November 12th. Dinner's at 5. Trivia begins at 6 p.m. Been a number of years that we have been doing this. They're very successful events, very popular events at our external location. This one is sponsored by Century Casino of Carruthersville. And then musical guests will be the second streaming performance, and that will be at 7 p.m. on November 24th. Then the LPN pinning ceremony and RN pinning ceremony will be live streamed December 11th, or rather it will be streamed on Facebook. It will be previously recorded. So both of those coming where we will honor our nurse graduates from those programs. And that, Madam Chairperson, is the president.
All right, thank you, Dr. Payne. I believe we have just a few short items for executive session, so we'll call for a motion.
So moved.
Second? All right, and roll call vote.
Trustee Hager.
Yes.
Trustee Harrison.
Yes.
Trustee Shaw.
Yes.
Trustee Featherston.
Yes.
Trustee Richardson.
Yes. Items for consideration, discussion, and vote.
Call a meeting.
Oh, yeah, call me back over. Oops, back over. All right, items for consideration, discussion, and vote.
All right, we bring forward College Policy, General Administrative Policy 1410, Record Retention and Instruction. Periodically, the Secretary of State changes the rules on how long what needs to be kept. We keep up with those changes, and those changes are reflected in this proposed change document. There are a lot of associated regulations where this is referenced that are added as information items in the back of the book, and as an information item, a regulatory change to benefits is listed in the back of the book. The only change to that is there was a particular type of historic benefit that was listed as available. The last person who had that benefit retired, and now it's being taken out of the benefits regulation because it has not been available for more than a decade.
All right, any discussion?
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, roll call vote.
Trustee Hager.
Yes.
Trustee Harrison.
Yes.
Trustee Shaw.
Yes, ma'am.
Trustee Featherston.
Yes.
Trustee Richardson.
Yes. And now consideration and approval of all personnel actions and associated documents.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Is there a second? Roll call vote.
Who seconded
Oh,
it?
Gary. No, not Gary, Gary.
Aaron? Okay.
Sorry.
Trustee Hager.
Yes.
Trustee Harrison.
Yes.
Trustee Shaw.
Yes.
Trustee Featherston.
Yes.
Trustee Richardson.
Yes. Okay, I think that's it. And, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So I'll second that.
Okay, voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Eric didn't make a motion nor a second.
Oh,